Hey, Neil here from Portainer. Today I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough of an experimental feature we just pushed out in Portainer Business Edition 2.18.3, and that is a chatbot that integrates with OpenAI or ChatGPT. Now, this is a feature solely in Portainer Business Edition, so either jump on and get our 5 nodes free, or have a trial version of Portainer Business or a licensed edition of Portainer Business. But anyway, let's get started. So in your Portainer Business Edition, you come down to Settings and scroll down to Experimental Features, and you have to turn on the OpenAI integration. So click it and click Save Experimental Settings. And now that that's turned on, you can go up to your profile for the user. In my case, I'm an admin, and you see OpenAI integration, and you have to put in an OpenAI key. Now, how do you get that? Go to the OpenAI website, log in with your account. You have to have an OpenAI account. You can get a free tier with access to the OpenAI API. It's a mouthful. Once you have it, you go to View API Keys and create yourself a new key. So I'm going to use my demo and get this key, copy the key, come back to Portainer and put the key in here and then click Save. Now, once that's done, you've got the OpenAI integration configured. Now come back to Home and click on an environment. I'm going to start with just a Docker Swarm environment. So if you come into here, and you'll see we've got the new chatbot down the bottom corner here. So if you click on the chatbot and say, how can I help you? I would like to deploy a WordPress stack. Now, I've simply asked here to deploy WordPress. I've not asked on Docker. I've not asked with Portainer. I've just simply said I want to deploy WordPress. Now, behind the scenes, we are populating the ChatGPT prompt for you, and we are actually prepending the prompt that says this is on a Docker Swarm cluster managed by Portainer Business Edition. And so we will be getting back information from the AI API specific to your particular environment. Now, when I switch to another environment, say a Kubernetes cluster, in the background, we will send that information, and so we'll get information back for that one, and I'll show you that in a second. Now, this response can take a while. The OpenAI API is quite slow, so this can take a few minutes, so we just need to wait for it to come back. Oh, there it is actually already. So you can see here, it is a compose file, version 3.8. You can see that there is a database service. You can see that there is a WordPress service. And so we can simply come down here and click the button, Deploy in Portainer. And when you hit that button, we will populate it as a compose file stack. We could say WordPress. You can scroll down and you can hit Deploy. Now, should you do this in reality, in production? Not at all. Is it substantially easier than going new stack and looking at a blank web editor with just a flashing cursor on row number 1? Absolutely it is. So this is a really nice way to get some basic examples or templates available to you that you can start to manipulate for your own particular use case. But anyway, we'll click Deploy, and Portainer will take the compose file that we got 100% from ChatGPT and deploy that in Portainer. And as you can see here, we've got the WordPress stack. You come into this, you'll see we've got 2 services, and the services are actually already up. Come to services, here they are, and they're actually already available. So that worked pretty well. Okay, so if I close this and I switch and go to Kubernetes environment, got the same bot down the bottom. And again, last time I simply asked, I'd like to deploy a WordPress stack. So I would like to deploy a WordPress stack. So same question, but this time, because we have selected a Kubernetes environment, we are changing the prompt back to OpenAI. And so we are now in the background prepending on Kubernetes with Portainer to your question, so that we can get the right response back. So again, we'll just wait for the response. Okay, so here we go. Now we can see here, this is definitely a manifest because it's substantially longer than the compose file. So same thing, PVC claim. You can see it's got a 1 gig storage volume. We've got a service. We have a load balancer. So again, luckily this is running on DigitalOcean, so I actually have a service type of load balancer. If I didn't, this probably wouldn't work, but again, it's a great template. And again, we have the same button down the bottom, deploy in Portainer. So hit the button. This will come into applications, deploy by manifest. We can come in here again, say WordPress. Let me just try changing this to 10 gigs. I know 1 gig doesn't work for me. And so we should be able to come down here and just see if it works. Now, again, the chance of this working, 50-50 at best. But again, it's a great way to get yourself a little template to start from. So we'll go deploy. This, again, will ask Kubernetes to provision me a service of type load balancer. And so that'll therefore ask DigitalOcean to provision me a load balancer. It'll go and ask, you see it's deploying a stateful set, so it'll go and get a persistent volume claim. So we just have to wait for this thing to provision and we'll see what happens. Should take a few seconds. Now we've got some great ideas for this integration. We want to have it reading in the Portainer docs and having context sensitive help. And we're also really quite interested in looking to see whether we can actually use this as an alternate for Compose with a K. So we used to have Compose with a K support inside Portainer, so you could take a Docker stack that was running on a Swarm cluster or on a Docker standalone host and migrate that to Kubernetes. But due to a bunch of CVUs with Compose, we had to take that out of the product. We think this could be a really nice way to use ChatGPT as well. So there's some concerns around sensitive data accidentally being leaked out to ChatGPT. So we haven't put that out in this experimental version, but there's something we're looking at. So you can see here, WordPress is provisioned. It should be seeking a load balancer. It is, and it's still pending from DigitalOcean, so we'll have to wait on that one. It looks like there's a problem with the stateful set though. So let's see. Again, probably related to the storage class. So you can come into here and it looks like, yeah, so there's a problem with the storage class. But again, really interesting as a base template to use to help you get started and learn this stuff. So anyway, this is the ChatGPT experimental feature with Portainer. Give it a try. Let us know what you think. If there's enough positive feedback on this feature, it'll come out of experimental phase and come into the live product. If there's feedback that's negative, we might look to make some changes to it, or if no one likes it, we'll pull it away. So as with experimental features, be careful because they may not end up in the eventual product. But for now, have a go. Be very careful with what you type into the ChatGPT prompt because OpenAI is known to hold data. We're not holding data, we're passing through, but just be super careful. Enjoy. Let us know what you think.